Hi, I'm going to do another video. Anyways, I'm going to fix the menfolk a little bit of a treat. I'm going to fix them some rice pudding because we're old-fashioned and we're from Oklahoma and we like rice pudding. But it's hot, so I'm going to fix it in my Instapot back here. And I'll post a link to this recipe below. It's from a blog, simplyhappyfoodie.com. And let's do this. Okay. Now, as you get to know me, you're going to know that I have a little tiny kitchen. So, we're very crowded here. Let's pretend like, though, that we can make do with what we have. Alright, so, here's my Instapot plugged in. My house is older than I am, if that's possible, so it's tiny. And I love it. So, here we go. Alright, so we're going to start out with a cup and a half of arborio rice, and that is spelled thusly, arborio rice. It's a bit starchier and it makes a thicker pudding, so that's what we're going to use. So we'll start out by putting in our cup and a half of rice. We've got 2 1/4 cups of water. And then it says a quarter of a teaspoon of salt, which is, trust me, about that much. And now what I'm going to do is seal my Instapot. And I'm just going to select pressure cook here. And I'm going to pressure cook it for 3 minutes. And so I'm going to let this come up to pressure, cook under pressure for 3 minutes, and then I will let it release naturally, meaning that I'll just unplug it when it's done and let it set for 10 or 15 minutes until the pressure valve goes down. And that will be, once this goes down, you're good to open it up, right? Okay, so I'll be back when my rice is done. Okay, while we're waiting for that natural pressure release on the Instapot, I'm going to go ahead and start getting the rest of my ingredients ready for step 2. And so I'm going to use 3 cups of half and half. This is going to be a very rich pudding. And again, this is a treat. This is not part of our meal. It's just a little treat. Cinnamon, they say is optional. Look, if you're going to do a southern thing, put the cinnamon in or just quit trying. Vanilla, 3 eggs, and a cup and a half of sugar. There's one other ingredient that is controversial. It's totally up to you. I will not judge you either way. It just seems to be either a deal maker or a deal breaker. Raisins. This recipe says you need 3/4 of a cup of raisins. I'm going to, see, little dude doesn't like raisins. Hubby loves them. So I'm going to meet in the middle. I'm going to put a half a cup of raisins in, and little dude can pick them out and give them to Grandpa. I don't care. Just eat it and love it. Alright, I have just added my 3 eggs in here. I beat the eggs well before I added my creamer. Now, I was recording all of that, but evidently my smartphone's an idiot and it did it on time lapse, which isn't going to work for me. So what I've done here, 3 eggs, 3 cups of milk, half and half. Again, if you don't want such a rich pudding, use regular milk. It'll be fine. But if you're going to treat your menfolk, treat them well. So there you go. I've also added a teaspoon of vanilla extract in there. And once my Instapot has released the pressure naturally, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open the Instapot. Again, the pressure valve has dropped on its own, but I'm still going to open it away from my face because that is still full of hot steam. Okay, so here is my rice, and now I've got to get, see, there you go, perfectly cooked rice. So let me get my spoon. Alright, so I'm going to add my milk and eggs and vanilla right there into the Instapot. And we're going to now add our 3/4 of a cup of sugar. This is nice and warm, so from the rice, so that's going to melt that sugar right away. Give it a stirry stir. Make sure you get it all up off the bottom. All right. And again, I don't know why you would not add cinnamon. Maybe it's just, you know, where you're at and your own preferences, and you know, but add it. Just trust me on this. You need it in there. Oh my gosh. Now, as I was saying, the first time I recorded my fixing the eggs and the milk part of this, I read somewhere that if you're afraid you haven't got your eggs and milk sufficiently combined, you can run it through a fine strainer, which I thought, well, that's weird. I've never had that trouble. But if you're worried that you haven't gotten your eggs beaten well enough, go ahead and just try that, I guess. I don't know. Okay, turning the Instapot back on, and we're going to go to saute here. There we go. And start. And we're just going to have this on the saute function, and we're going to stir this until it starts to simmer. So this will thicken up on its own. It looks pretty soupy right now, but don't worry, you didn't screw it up. The eggs are in that are going to help thicken it up and make it into the pudding that everybody's going to say, oh my gosh, Mom, can we have more of that? So let me go ahead and get out a hot pan, because once this, we're going to simmer this, and let's see if I can take you closer here. Oops. Now this, I used to fix this on the stove top, and I have fixed rice pudding in the slow cooker before, but that's an all-day process there in the slow cooker, and I've already got my oven cranked up and pots on the stove because I'm fixing my dinner too, and I just don't care to stand over a hot stove any more today than I necessarily have to. So this is going to work out fine, but we're going to just keep this stirred up, and wait for it to simmer. Okay, this is already thickening up nicely here, and you can see it's starting to bubble and simmer, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off my Instapot, and then I'm going to pull the pot part, get over here where I can, out of, y'all can't see over this little contraption I'm setting you on. Can you? No, bless your little hearts. Hang on, let me see if I can move this. Back up, Grandma. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, or maybe not, because the lighting and the poor quality of videography, this is thickening up already, and it will thicken more as it cools down. So I'm just going to throw in this little bit of raisins. Again, little dude hates them and Grandpa loves them, so little dude's going to have to pick them out, but he won't have to pick out many. Alright, so I'm going to let this set and cool, and we'll give her a try here in a bit. That's good stuff. Okay, this is, somebody's been walking by here sampling this, but this has been cooling for about 30 minutes or so. And we're going to have little dude sample it.
Grandma,
what?
Focus it on the sink.
No, I don't want people to see my dirty dishes. All right, come over here, dude.
Oh, that would have been epic.
Come over here. Okay, so as you guys can see, that pudding dried up. So let's have a bite from our little dude sampler.
I thought I had something. That's good.
You like it? It's really good. It's really, really good. So this recipe is a win. And again, I'll put a link to this recipe in the down below here. So rice pudding in an Instapot. Thumbs up.